So you want to play catch-up on Yellowstone. Yellowstone has come to an end, and some people might want to catch up. If you only have season 5 to go, you may want to pace yourself to keep Yellowstone alive for longer. Yellowstone had Kevin Costner as John Dutton, the owner of the ranch that allowed his children to cause chaos at every level. It was tense, explosive, and a soap opera that had fans on the edge of their seats week after week. It was the wild, wild West set in modern times, and people loved to tune in. The series ended with season 5, and while the previous 4 seasons had roughly 10 episodes each, season 5 gave us a little more to work with. By the end of the show's run, season 5 of Yellowstone clocks in at 14 episodes. That is the longest season of the show. Seasons 2, 3, and 4 all had 10 episodes, and season 1 of the series only had 9 episodes. The 14 episodes come from the split season. The first 8 episodes of the season aired back in 2022, and the second part of the season didn't hit Paramount Plus until November of 2024. Then, fans were gifted with 6 more episodes that led to the show's final moments. Which is sad, but the legacy of Yellowstone lives on at Paramount. Since its start, fans have made Yellowstone into the juggernaut that it became, which ended up including multiple spin-off shows under the Dutton family umbrella. Apart from the flagship show, fans can watch 1883 and 1923, which is gearing up to release its second season starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren later this year. But if you're looking to space out the final moments between the Dutton family on Yellowstone, there are only 14 episodes of season 5 to say your goodbyes. You acted like such a jerk. Ralph Macchio defends his sacred character's Cobra Kai evolution. We spoke with Ralph Macchio ahead of the final episodes of Cobra Kai. While it may be sad to say goodbye to our favorite kids, this isn't the end of Daniel LaRusso. Macchio's Daniel will return in Karate Kid Legends, set a few years after the end of Cobra Kai. But when talking with Macchio about the final episodes during a roundtable interview, I was interested in the journey that LaRusso goes on at Cobra Kai. He is no longer just our main hero, as we're seeing more layers get added to some of LaRusso's biggest foes, mainly that of Johnny Lawrence, William Zabka. When asked about how Daniel has grown as a character, Macchio told me all about how he had to trust the process and push back when he felt like things weren't the most like his beloved character. But that he understood that sometimes Daniel would make decisions that felt wrong at the time but would pay off later, something he had to learn to handle on the show since the movies didn't leave those questions in the air. Speaking to the 65 episodes of Cobra Kai, there were ups and downs and surprises for me as an actor, Macchio said of LaRusso's evolution. Where Daniel LaRusso lands at the end of Cobra Kai is, I believe, the original Daniel LaRusso that I helped create back in day 1 in 1983. It feels honest, truthful, and genuine to the goodness of that character. The ups and downs on the journey of the karate soap opera that Cobra Kai has been, with the high highs and low lows and bigger-than-life moments that has been at times bumpy for me to kind of understand. So we always collaborate and discuss that, because very often he would be there to create conflict to propel story in order to redeem 10 episodes later or 5 episodes later, building a character with flaws. The thing about Daniel LaRusso is that we watched a kid who came from little means take on the big bads. It was a David and Goliath story, and while Daniel was always our hero, he had a storyline wrapped up with a nice little bow by the end of each movie. Cobra Kai allowed Daniel to change from season to season, and Macchio worked with John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, and Josh Heald to make it feel as authentic to who LaRusso is as possible. There were times that we would have to find it together, because any time it undercut the integrity of the character is when I would really push hard back, saying, okay, how could we show this side of Daniel LaRusso? This flawed side, because it's important. The character has flaws. You need drama. Without any flaws, there's no story, Macchio said. But it was about having these flaws and these sharper edges, but not for it to feel dishonest to the origin of the character. And so that was the journey throughout. Where it landed is where it should be getting to. There were times I was frustrated from the protection of the character's point of view, but it always found itself in a form of redemption going forward. Defending Daniel LaRusso. Macchio spoke about making sure that the character felt true to who he is, not only for himself, but for fans of the show. Characters like Daniel LaRusso have fans dating back decades. I myself grew up in a household where we watched the Karate Kid movies regularly. So the journey of the character is important to who LaRusso is. And Macchio shared that even when people would come up to him and say that Daniel was acting like a jerk, it all paid off in the end. Sometimes it would hit at a point that we'd have 2-3 months before the next episode. So, on the street people are like, "Why did you do that? You acted like such a jerk." And I'm like, "Well, I know, but I'd have to defend." It was like defending LaRusso to the fan base who loved him when they grew up and had to go through all these bumps and sharper edges, Macchio said. But at the end, it made him a more complex character. And I think you'd cheer him on as you did back in 1984, even with all those bumps and bruises. Stay gold, Macchio. With the release of the final season of Cobra Kai and Legends, a lot of Macchio's work is back in the conversation online. People often reference My Cousin Vinny. There's a musical version of The Outsiders on Broadway, and Daniel LaRusso is bigger than ever before. That makes Macchio one of our most talked about people as he's played roles in all 3 iconic worlds. When I asked him how he, as Ralph Macchio, felt about the nostalgia we're all feeling, he talked about the power his work has for fans. Yes, I did cry when he said "stay gold" as a way of talking about Johnny Cade in The Outsiders. I am but a simple girl who loves Ponyboy Curtis and Johnny. It's amazing, Macchio said. I mentioned before, unique, grateful privilege, all that stuff, yada yada. But it is. I don't take it for granted at this stage of my life to see The Outsiders on Broadway, to see the teenage kids still come up to me with a book and I write out "Stay Gold." And they start crying and screaming and I'm like, wait, I could be your grandfather. But it's cool. It's cool. I love it, seeing the musical on Broadway. And yeah, My Cousin Vinny is quoted all the time, The Karate Kid. It was a certain window of time that I got to experience that 20 years ago. I mean, The Karate Kid has never left the zeitgeist, and neither has The Outsiders. He went on to talk about the staying power these stories and characters have had. But at this level, to be must-see television, to be a big summer movie coming out in the end of May, there's been a light shined on this franchise, and I was the lucky kid who got to do the crane kick. And somehow I'm still here. It's really wonderful and wonderful to share with my family, my kids who only heard about that chapter, and now they're championing it. So it's really quite wonderful. And I get asked, how does it feel to carry one character for this long? I hear that from other actors asking me, and I say, when I have a 10-year-old kid that is starry-eyed and just happy that he watches this cool show with his dad or mom, how do you frown upon that and do anything but embrace it? And I'll do other things as well. But right now it's a celebration of landing Cobra Kai in this way. And I can't wait for everyone to see it. Where can I watch Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2? Hindsight is 2020. No one could have predicted the popularity of Taylor Sheridan and John Linson's Western drama Yellowstone, which is why the series' conclusion is so hard to stream, for now. Let's back things up a minute. Before 2013, Sheridan was a working actor who grew dissatisfied with the difficult lifestyle and turned to screenwriting. You might remember him as Danny Boyd in Veronica Mars or David Hale in Sons of Anarchy. Yellowstone started as a feature film script, but eventually evolved into a series at HBO. The cowboy did not get along well with the network executives, so the partnership dissolved, but the then programming president, Michael Lombardo, let Sheridan retain ownership rights for his idea. That was a huge deal. Despite the setback, Sheridan persisted and pitched the show around town. It all paid off when a new cable channel, the Paramount Network, purchased it. After a lot of hard work, Yellowstone premiered in 2018. Where can I watch the Yellowstone finale? Although it seems logical that fans could catch the end of this era of the family story on the network's streaming service, Paramount Plus, you know what they say about assumptions. The network actually sold the American streaming rights to Yellowstone to Peacock in 2021, complicating matters for viewers unnecessarily. Right now, viewers can stream Yellowstone Seasons 1-5A on Peacock, but you'll need to wait for Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2, because of the 2021 deal. The rest of the series should be available on the NBC-owned streaming service between late March and May 2025. For those who cannot stand to wait that long, live TV streaming services are the way to go. Check out Philo, YouTube TV, Fubo, or Hulu Plus Live TV to see which best fits your viewing habits. All these options offer free trials of various lengths. If digital ownership is more your speed, check out Prime Video or Apple TV. Blu-ray and DVD collectors will have to wait until May 27, 2025. The Dutton family saga doesn't end here. Once you finally figure out how to watch the conclusion of the original series, try one of the Yellowstone spin-offs. Thankfully, this is a much simpler process. 1883 and 1944 can be found on Paramount+. The plot of this Western series centers around the complicated Dutton family and their quest to preserve their large family ranch and legacy in Montana. It stars Kevin Costner as John Dutton III, the family's patriarch. His 4 children, Lee, Jamie, Beth, and Case, are played by Dave Annable, Wes Bentley, Kelly Riley, and Luke Grimes, respectively. 6 new shows to stream in February 2025. There are tons of exciting new and returning shows coming out this month. So here's a list of everything you need to watch, when it premieres, and where to stream them. The long-awaited Suits LA will premiere on February 23rd, along with new seasons of already established hits like Love is Blind and The White Lotus. Keep reading because you do not want to miss these shows.